go get them again.
Welcome back to another unboxing first impression video on my channel. Today we are delving into the brand of Xerjoff, and this is a very popular release from the brand Alexandria 2. I haven't smelled any Alexandrias. I believe they're up to 3 now. 2 got an anniversary edition, among other things, but it's I'm really intrigued with this release because it is very popular from the brand of Xerjoff. This is for the decant site, so I don't have a box. It came like this. Hopefully the atomizer works, and we'll see what we get out of this one. And we'll see if I have to delve more into more of these Alexandria releases. And again, my audience, you guys know better than me. Some of you are Xerjoff experts. Let me know which ones are great from the line. But the OUD Stars line is the one from Xerjoff that does intrigue me. A lot of their releases are actually pretty solid. I actually really like the OUD Stars line from Xerjoff. I took out some of my darker scents from Xerjoff. I didn't take out the whole Xerjoff library that I own, but this thing would be full. But we got a couple of the darker ones here. And as you may know, or you may not know me, I'm not a huge Xerjoff guy, but again, this line is more my speed. And I have been sniffing more of their darker scents from the brand, and I do like them. Again, part of the OUD Stars line, which I'm a fan of, and this is the hype beast of the line. I think this is probably the most hyped from that OUD Stars line. And I do remember when this was first released. This is how old I am. And hopefully my memory serves me well. It's starting to go a little bit, my memory, but I used to be fairly sharp with the memory. If I remember correctly, Alexandria 2 was very limited. I think they had like 100 or 200 bottles released in 2012, but then it got re-released. And I think it took like a good 3 to 5 years for it to finally make the regular line available to more of the public, we'll say. So it was a limited edition release. Again, if my Rolodex serves me well. So let's delve into this. Before we get into anything, if you're new here, welcome to the ROSEWOOD channel. I'm your host, Mark. Smash that subscribe button. Smash that like button. If you're subscribed or not, I really appreciate hitting that like button. You know, it really pushes me to make more content. And the more likes, and again, it doesn't matter, you know, if you agree or disagree with me. You can put like or dislike if you want. If you don't like my face, you don't like my shirt, don't care. Just basically the like and dislike meter, I look at it a lot more now just to engage what my audience wants. So it's nice to see that. But if you're an old head that returned back to the ROSEWOOD channel, welcome back. And a diehard that's always been around, welcome back to the channel and welcome back. Let's see what Alexandria 2 gives us. Now let's go into the note breakdown first and see what we have. So up top we have rosewood. Not a note that's utilized that much in perfumery, but there is quite a few releases with it, but they are far and few between. It's not one of the most popular wood notes, and it's nice to see it in the top note here. We'll see what we get. We also have lavender, cinnamon, and an apple, so really interesting combo there. In the mid, we have rose, cedar, and lily of the valley. So we got some florals and we got some more wood. And in the base, we have oud, sandalwood, amber, vanilla, and musk. So from what I'm seeing here, lots of woods. And we got to keep an eye on, of course, it's from the OUD Stars lineup, so we got to take a look at that oud rose combo. Is that going to be primary? There's obviously some sweet facets from the amber and vanilla. Are we going to get a resinous amber here? We will see. We got some spices and, of course, some florals. Now, this was released back in 2012. And again, I don't remember the re-release date or the market date in regards to it, but I'm pretty sure it was like 3 or 5 years later. They re-released it for mass consumption, I guess. The nose, Chris Maurice. Now let's look at pricing. Let's see how much this one retails for. 576 USD. Oof. Now that's for 100 mils. So this is a 50 mil fragrance. So they do come in 2 sizes, but the big boy is 576. And at discounters, I'm just looking around, peeking through. I saw the 100 mil for 270 to 300. So that's a big drop off from retail. So Xerjoff is one of those brands, honestly, never go retail. pretty straightforward. New releases, just wait till discounters get them, and they get them quick. Xerjoff is like PDM. Both those brands, they're distributors, at least the ones I know in the United States, that distribute to their retailers and to discounters. They throw out their product right away to both. I don't know if that's, obviously it's working for them, but it's kind of like, wouldn't you want to wait to give the discounters the new stuff? You know, give the retail period some time, you know, maybe like 2 months, 60 days, 90 days maybe, and then release it at discounters. But yeah, PDM and Xerjoff, it's just like this. You're gonna get the new releases. It's in shops at retail, and then like 2 weeks, a week later, it's at a discounter. So just be patient, and you can get this for, obviously this is an older release, so it doesn't matter, but new releases, just a trick of the trade. Let's get into it. Let's put it on strip first, and then we'll put it on skin. The bottle does look a little dented up, actually. Hopefully the atomizer works. Oh yeah, it does. Heavy on the cinnamon. It has an ambery glow. Some woods. And that lavender. Lavender reminds me a little bit of the lavender utilized in Naxos. Not bad. And like these hype beasts from Xerjoff, some I like, some I don't. Right? I like, you know, More Than Words. I like Rich Wood. What else is a hype beast? Naxos, I'm kind of like lukewarm on, honestly. This is one of those that's kind of in that, like the oud stars are more daring, and I feel some of that, the oud and the amber, but then the lavender is kind of very pedestrian, kind of like a Naxos. So it kind of goes into this realm of like mass appealing kind of thing, right? But with a little bit of daring tendencies. So yeah, let's put on skin. This might have been too many sprays. I hear this thing's beast, but let's see. Oh, that rosewood. Oh, that's different than that. Okay. Rosewood, lavender, amber, woods. Okay. Nice soft rosewood in here. Rosewood can give out like a floral component. Think about like freesia kind of thing going on. And it will also give out little fruity nuances. Now I do see that there's apple in this note breakdown. It's nondescript. We'll go with apple, but it's very nondescript. Vanillic, ambery touch, definitely going through the veins of this. A little musky. It kind of reminds me of, there's a lot of comparisons here going through my Rolodex here while I have you on camera. Rosewood and oud kind of reminds me a little bit of oud wood from Tom Ford. They both have that combo, or they both have that combo, rosewood and oud. Very westernized oud. I think the oud in here is a little more, a lot less westernized, we'll say, than the oud wood. But the rosewood, the quality of both those that note in both fragrances are very eerily the same. This one I think has more oud, or the concept of oud in the fragrance than, of course, the Tom Ford. Lots of woods in this fragrance, very dry. I think this is more of a wood-based fragrance, Alexandria too. Yeah, you know, there's rosewood, there's cedar, there's sandalwood, and there's oud. So those are your major components. Some you smell less, some you smell more. I think rosewood and oud are making more of the heavy lifting with a little bit of cedar. Sandalwood, not so much right now. Lavender, yep. So very woody heavy, woods heavy with lavender going through it. Vanilla, of course, so it has this warming quality. It's inviting. It has a little bit of that old world feel to it, a little bit like a niche product from Xerjoff wood, but also has that mass appealing. So it really toes that line of a little designer feel to it. And I don't want to say like it smells like La Male because it's got vanilla and lavender, but it's kind of like around that concept. Think like Armani Code Profumo, La Male, anything that kind of has a little bit of a vanillic lavender dustiness to it at the same time. That combo, the vanilla and the lavender combo, is very designerish. That's what those two notes, and they're very prominent in this. They will give you a little bit of that powdery aspect. It's going to, which is from the amber. The amber will also may give you like a cola vibe, think benzoin. I'm feeling a little bit of that, and that's where I'm kind of going Armani Code Profumo. It's not a bad thing, but it is for $5.70. Yes, it is. So there's a lot of that, but you're getting, of course, the woods as well, which really is sharing the spotlight with that. So I don't know how I feel about this one. It's solid, but it's not what the stories of YouTube fame was telling us. At least that's how I feel. I feel like, and again, it depends where you are, your journey, and what you're looking for in your fragrance. But a fragrance like this at $5.76 for 100 ml, obviously cheaper. Discounters, it's cheaper. At $2.70, you know, around I would pay probably $2.50, $2.20 Canadian, not American. So at discounters, it's still a little high for me, but that's for 100 ml, right? I think that's what my research stated. So around $200 for 50 mils, a full bottle of this. I could see it. It's just the lavender vanilla combo. Ambery glow is very pedestrian. And then there's the wood side of things that, even though I compared it a little bit like OUD wood, which is, it's a good thing. It's a positive. I don't know. It's kind of lacking a little bit of je ne sais quoi for me. And I hear this one is very powerful. I could definitely feel it from first spray that this thing is going to have a little bit of legs to it, which is a good thing for a lot of people that are in this space, that I feel like this thing isn't going anywhere anytime soon on my skin. Yeah, so what does it do? And, you know, you kind of have to give it flowers. And again, being a fragrance reviewer, I'm going to go positive and negatives. I think some of the positive and negatives are, well, positive wise, and it depends where you are in your journey. It balances niche with the oud and the rosewood and mostly the woody notes, like a niche product and a designer high wearability product. So it balances those two ideas very well. And I mean, the lavender, the amber, and the vanilla kind of reminds me of like a designer fragrance, which is okay. But if you're in this game for niche products that are unique, daring, different, you know, you're not looking for performance. You're not looking for, you know, high performance, you know, compliment factor, and you're wearing Sauvage, and you're wearing, you know, Armani Code Profumo, and you're wearing things like that, and then you're kind of going into the niche realm, I could see why this product would really, you know, impress you. For somebody in my shoes, I could see the high wearability. So it's kind of like a versatile thing that has a little bit of interesting parts to it. So that's where I'm at. It's not going to get a 10 out of 10 out of me. I know a lot of people love this thing. I think I've been texted at least more than a dozen times about, when are you going to review this thing? Well, I got it. I do have a sample of it. I was supposed to I bought a sample of it because I was supposed to do a sampling samples. It's still there somewhere, and I still may do a sampling samples because it has more bulk to it, dry down, things like that. So I'd like to see where this is going to develop. But this introduction, I'm getting a lot of what's in this note breakdown, right? Yeah, that lavender, ambery, kind of like they don't list benzoin, but kind of cola kind of thing. Like it really does remind, like I can't get it out of my head now, like a Armani Code Profumo. And I think I want to go smell that right now. And I think I'm on the right path here. Le Male is probably the wrong path, but Yeah, I think if you're a fan of like a Naxos, like this is a darker version, a more woody thing than a Naxos. I could see why somebody would enjoy this one. So Alexandria too, as daring as a lot of these fragrances are beside me here, all of these have some gruff to them, some interesting parts, and not for everybody. Those are things that are keywords that I look at when I'm looking at fragrance reviews. This is the more mass appealing one out of the bunch, honestly. Not not a big slam dunk of like, oh, it's terrible. No, it's well balanced, it's well done, and it has that balance. So I could see somebody gravitating towards this versus the more daring things. Yeah, now that I've heard my take, I'd love to see yours in the comments below. Good, bad, and the ugly. A solid release from Xerjoff. It will get some wearings out of me. Obviously, I got to decant this, but it would be a higher score because I would like this in my collection, but I'm not in a rush. And I think I would cap out at around 2. But we'll see what sampling samples gives me later on once I get to it at some point. Because then I'll have like 2-3 days of wearing on it and really grasp the scent. But I can't wait to see your comments. I know that it's hyped to the max, basically one of the Xerjoff that does get a lot of hype within the community. I can see that. I can see why. And then it might get panned as well from some people in the community as well. So yeah, I think I'm more with the people that are like 10 out of 10. I'm not in your group, but I'm kind of like right outside of it. This would get kind of like a 7 or an 8 out of me. Yeah, around there, give or take. But I'm interested in seeing what it's going to do in the dry down. All right, as always, great to pour fragrance will make a lasting impression. Choose your scent wisely. Thanks for watching, YouTube. Have a good one.